What's going on, you boys? Welcome back to another episode of Rand Kyle Everything Sports Podcast. Today I'm going to be running through my top 10 for the NFL. I'm going to start off hot with a team that nobody really had high expectations for. It's going to be the Houston Texans, 6-4 now. CJ Stroud is a problem. I think he's the main guy for that team. That team's not really looked at heavily, but I mean, well over 500 now. CJ Stroud's continued to be a shoo-in for Rookie of the Year. He's going to continue to ball. He threw a first half interception last week, but against the Cardinals, really tore them up in the second half. It was really consistent going forward, so I think he'll continue to climb. Then at number 9 for me, it's going to be Cleveland Browns. It's a really tough loss at quarterback position, but I really think that showing that win last week, even though they lost their quarterback, is going to show that they do have surrounding cast around him. Even though he's gone now, they can still be able to hold it together, and hopefully can be able to pull them through because they got a good defense. They got a good surrounding cast, so hopefully they'll be able to continue going forward and be able to have a good run to the playoffs. Then number 8 for me, I have the Jaguars. This team's only lost 3 games. It's a sneakily really good team. They've had some really bad inconsistencies, but Trevor Lawrence has been balling ever since he came into the league. This defense is solid, and I think they're going to continue. I mean, they had good wins over Buffalo and teams like that, so they'll continue to go on that train, being well over 500 and going to the playoffs. Then at number 6 for me, I have the Dolphins. This offense is just too good for me. Yes, they've lost to some good teams. They lost the Bills, the Chiefs, but this offense is just too good to have them anywhere outside of that for me. So for me, I just don't feel like there's any way that I can put the Dolphins anywhere but here. It honestly might even be a little low. I feel like they just need to be a little bit more consistent. They're too inconsistent at the moment, but with the weapons they have on that team and the speed, that team is just going to continue to climb. The next up for me is going to be the Dallas Cowboys. I hate putting them at 6, but they did just come off that loss to the Eagles 2 weeks ago, dominated the Commanders team this week. So hopefully we'll see them going into the next week and continue to climb against these bad teams and see if they can build something against a good team going forward because they have a hard stretch towards the end of the season. The next up for me is going to have to be the Kansas City Chiefs. At 5, I feel like it's kind of low for them maybe, but I mean now they've lost 3 games, and the 3 games they've lost have been ugly. I mean these games they're losing, they're dropping passes. Patrick Mahomes isn't playing his best, so I just really need to see this Chiefs team start to build up a little bit more and not drop as many balls, and be a little more consistent on the offensive side of the ball because their defense is balling. I just really need to see a lot more of this Chiefs team as far as consistency goes. Then at number 4, I have the Lions. This Lions team is good. Jared Goff is balling. I think St. Brown is a really big factor for them, even though when he was out, they did still put up 42 points. So this Lions defense is really good, and I think that's the main focal point for them, but their offense is getting up there. So I feel like they can continue to beat up on good teams, even though they had debacle, losing like 40 almost to the Ravens not too long ago. They seem to keep beating teams and beating these good teams, and they'll have a good run to the playoffs. Then next up for me is going to be the 49ers. I feel like this 49ers team for everybody was the number 1 for a long time. And they dropped 3 in a row. They always kind of dropping them, but I think this is still a great team. I mean, they were injury plagued for that 3-game losing streak. So I think now going forward, having been everyone healthy nearly, and I think Purdy's going to continue to grow. I think losing those games was good because it kind of gave him a wake-up call, showed him what it's felt like to lose. So I think he's now going to be able to build on that. I think going forward, I think he'll be fine. Then at number 2, I have the Ravens. This Ravens team is really good, 8-3. They lost their starting tight end, but Lamar Jackson is really starting to come alive. That arm is starting to really get there. We've seen that in the last couple of years. I mean, we know he's been as a runner, and then you get that supporting cast around with that defense and those wide receivers. And I just really feel like this Ravens team has a really good shot at going really far this year. Then at number 1 for me, do I think this could change? Yes, but I don't think there's any argument. After beating the Chiefs last week, it's got to be the Eagles. This Eagles team has only lost 1 game, so I just feel like this Eagles team really has shown us they can beat the good teams, they can beat the bad teams. So I just really need to see them. Now, they have let games be close. They were close. They had close games with bad teams like the Commanders. They almost lost that game, so they need to make sure they can stay on top of games. They need to come out early, come out hot. But, I mean, being 2 games ahead of the rest of the league, being at 9-1 and close circuit to them is 8-3, I just don't see you could put them anywhere but 1, especially after beating the team that a lot of people hadn't won last week, which was the Chiefs. So I feel like this Eagles team is good. I feel like they're close to a ceiling. I feel like there's a lot of teams like the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Cowboys that aren't at their ceiling that could pass them up, but we'll get to see that later on in the year. But thank you, boys, for locking in with me this week. We're going to see what happens this week and going into next week and see if anything changes. So talk to you next time.